Law's Old Country Soul, 8:15 here on the Morning Den. It is a Wednesday and time to get well. How was that? There's a tee up. No pressure at all on Zenia Mihevc. No pressure. Zenia joins Scott Campsall and I. Scott, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And Zenia, good morning to yourself as well.
Good morning.
So you are the proprietor of A Little Zen as a social worker. We can use, well, you know what? We can use a little more than a little Zen. Probably a lot of Zen these days. We were just talking on the phone and joking around that, we can do some social distancing and talking to people. And it's like you've emerged from your house after the zombie apocalypse going, oh, there are other adults out here I can talk to again. And Scott, you were saying yesterday, it just seemed like everybody exploded out of their homes because businesses were opening and it was busy in the downtown core of Uxbridge.
Yeah, you know what? I almost got a picture. You remember the Wizard of Oz where they're going up to the Emerald City and they're singing that song? I'm not singing it for you. Like, it's too early. But yeah, it almost felt like the same thing. It's almost like I'm dropping my son off for work and I'm looking through the parking lot and it just seems so full. And I guess the weather is a little warmer and yeah, it was almost like somebody hit a release button.
Yeah, now Zenia, I would think that was expected to happen, but there are still restrictions in place, and it sounds like there's this almost a resentment that people have right now that those are in place, despite the fact that it is for our health concerns. How do you handle something like that, especially when you've got weather like this and people are just going to want to get out and do what they normally do?
Yeah, it's funny, Scott, when you're saying it's like Wizard of Oz, I was picturing it, but then I was hearing the Beatles, right? Here comes the sun. It's been a long, cold, lonely winter. With the physical distancing, with the pandemic, with the stay-at-home self-isolation, and then the crummy weather that we've had, like up until the middle of May, it has been really cold and lonely. And now that we are able to get some control back in our lives, it's hard to rein it in. So it's a little bit of a slippery slope, I feel, right? People are really excited. Businesses are excited and also really nervous to be able to reopen, to be there. Of course, they want to have that economy to start to build. They want to be able to share their goods a lot. In Uxbridge, there's so many kind of small businesses of independent owners and not as much as the big box stores, and we want to be there for them. But when we finally get back out into the world, it's almost like sometimes we forget what's happening. It doesn't mean that we're all in the clear. So it's a hard balance of still trying to maintain that slowing down, that pausing, that maintaining the social distancing, even though we're so craving it. We've had the social media. We've been able to connect via electronics. But we really do miss that face-to-face interaction. And it's funny, Dan, when we first started connecting, and I think it was one of the first times that I came on the air, we were starting to talk about connection, about how social media and technology has made it great to connect, but we still miss that face-to-face, and there is still something about having actual eye contact with somebody that's not on a screen and miscued.
Do we, I guess, lose a bit of our mindfulness, too, because we are so excited by the expectation of being able to get out there?
Oh, yeah. Think about what little kids are like when they get excited for something, right? That mindfulness is lost because that prefrontal cortex, that logic, that meaning-making part of our brain flips up. So when it flips up, we lose that connection, and then we are acting kind of more primal out of instinct of like, hey, look, it's sunny. I can wear T-shirts. I can wear flip-flops. I can have space. I can go into the store again, and we get excited and lose a little bit of that understanding of what's happening.
How do we get it back, or how do we cope with losing it?
I think taking those baby steps, right? So just because we can do something doesn't necessarily mean that we need to right now. A lot of people have been really great at, being more fiscally responsible and not kind of going out and buying more than they need after the hoarding stuff kind of settled down. But still taking that slowing down and coming back to those moments that you really, truly enjoyed. Like last night, my husband and I, we have got two little kids, and we just played outside together in the grass. And I don't remember when the last time was where we were just wrestling and playing out on the grass and slowing down instead of trying to go and do something. So taking advantage of the nice weather and getting out there, but still being able to join in with your immediate family in your household that you can have that physical and close contact with. And then setting up those parameters of still being able to visit, right? Like I always think of, what was that TV show back in the 90s? Home Improvement with the neighbor over the face, Wilson. Is that what his name was?
Right, yeah.
Where you're still connecting over the fence. So you can still have those times, but remembering that this is a new normal. It's not back to the way it was. So there is still that learning curve. There might still be that second wave. Some places are already experiencing it. And then I know with yesterday's announcement, I felt it myself too with the schools. Like I'm happy that they're not opening. I think that's a good thing. I don't think we're there yet, but at the same time, I see what's missing for my kids. And it's not just the academics. We're doing the best that we can at home, but it's the other parts that we need school for, that we need to be in community for, which is learning how to appropriately and kindly interact with one another.
Well, there's a bit of that yin and the yang, because you're feeling that, you're understanding the full picture for your kids, whereas if it's a younger child and they're missing that social aspect, is there not a danger that they're looking at mom or dad and going, "Oh, you're just happy because I'm not getting something," not having that ability to see the entire picture, that there could be a danger if they went back to school?
Yeah, for sure. And that, like, for them, I think it's they really just miss their friends. They want to hang out with their friends. They want to see their teachers. They do miss a little bit of the learning because I'm not a trained, elementary school teacher, so I do the best that I can.
But how do you connect with them to make sure that they are getting that message, that what is going through your mind, that what your concern is their health, that is your main concern?
We've been, in our house, we've just been really open and honest about it. Like, they understand what the risks. We've had COVID affect somebody in our family, and thankfully they've recovered. So it's conversations that we've had where we haven't been sugarcoating it. And I think this is sometimes out of love and out of protection as parents, we try to hide them from realities and be, age appropriate, but at the other time, these are things that we need to make sure that they're aware of. There is still dangers. We can't go and hug our buddies. Yes, we can go and visit with them on the driveway, but you can't run up and hug them. So thinking about like that little kid that in kindergarten, all they want to do is hug and touch and hold hands. We've just really instilled it with them from the beginning and saying, we're going to tell you yes when you can and when we're getting there and how close we can be. And it's been a gradual shift. And knowing that we're still not quite there yet. My little one's turning 6 in 2 weeks, so his biggest concern in life is his birthday party and what that's going to look like.
And what are your thoughts moving toward that?
For his party?
Yeah.
Well, he's so cute because he goes, well, I just want 4 people, so it's only 5.
That's part of that's the confusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they announced that you can have housekeepers in your house, but now you got to explain to your child how he can't have a friend over,
and you can have a babysitter or a butler. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. Mine's coming back soon don't have a butler, but it is like just having those pieces with him where we just said, you know what, we can do little one-on-one the driveway visits. And my other kid was at a driveway one-on-one birthday party where they sat, at far ends of a table. And to see him be able to connect with his buddy and just talk for an hour, they didn't stop talking. I don't know if they could actually hear each other because they were just so excited to talk in physical proximity of another friend, of somebody else of their age group. So if we can do those things and just slow down on it and teach them that understanding in the same way that we have to. But it is a slippery slope because we get really excited and we just want to do more. And with summer coming up, we want to have those barbecues. We want to have those pool parties, and we're just not there yet.
And what about those parents who, I guess school effectively is daycare because they're at work, and they don't have that now? Are those kinds of people giving you a call, and what are you saying to them?
They are giving me a call. We're doing some work still virtually. I mean, I'm in the same position. I don't have daycare for my kids. I'm allowed to reopen to do some face-to-face, which I'm working towards. So just shifting my hours. that sometimes people can, but when someone is being told that they have to go back to work, I don't quite know all the legislation of how that looks. And it's something that's been really confusing for me, is if all these things are opening up and people don't have care and only certain people can access the essential daycares. I don't quite know how this works. Are people at risk of losing their jobs? Or are companies understanding, or are they choosing to stay off because they don't have childcare? So we're just practicing some what's in your control and what's not in your control, and coming back to core values of what is the most important to you in your life. Well, it's my kids and it's my family, it's security. And starting to process that, where we come back to basics in a little way, and then practicing those skills, knowing that this isn't going to be a forever thing, but it still might be a little while longer. It's a dance. It's such a dance, and it's a constant movement. So doing some things to reduce. Like when this first started, everyone was really paying attention to their physical health. And now we really have to look at our mental health. This has been really hard and a long, prolonged stress. So how can you slow down with checking in with different foods, with what you're watching? What are you feeding yourself with in terms of food, but also what are you feeding yourself with in terms of stimulus? Caffeine, news, movies that maybe gave you a jolt. Are those still helping you right now, or are they adding to this accumulated stress that has been brewing over these last few months?
That's a good thing to think about. Now, Scott, we were talking about the reopening of the economies or the economy for your business. Not yet, but do you know if you're part of stage 2? Do you know what kinds of things would need to be in place to reopen your business?
We've got a bunch of different programs, so we're sort of waiting for the go-ahead to be able to do individual stuff indoors before anybody can go in the facility and stuff like that. Like they talked about tennis, they talked about like the golf's open, obviously. So we're looking at possibly doing outdoor classes, but and then making sure that we've got distancing put in place. And I've been talking to Dave Barton about that, about what the town thinks about it and how that's going to work. And but it's with us, we've got concerns because even if we do follow protocols, we have to worry about what that's going to look like as far as just the town and what they're going to see it as. Like, the pump park's open, the skate park's open, so that helps us look at outdoor stuff for sure. But and then even then we can do karate, but we can't do jiu-jitsu. So it's going to be, we're still trying to navigate it. And even I was talking to Andy, was the gym we're in, and I'm asking him, what do you think we're going to be doing when we're opening? And he's going, I'm waiting for rules. Like I said earlier, it's just so confusing as to what you can do, what you can't do. Like now, no overnight camps, but day camps might be allowed later. So we had originally thought we were going to cancel our day camp. And now we're thinking, well, maybe if we push it to August, we might be able to run it, which would be good because there isn't any day camps running for the town. And so we're just trying to basically, like, I like Zenia's term, it's like a dance. Yeah, that's right now somebody else is leading, but and I'm not quite sure if it's not the cha-cha, but
well, Zenia, if Scott, you've heard how Scott's feeling right now. What would you say to Scott?
You know what, Scott, you really kind of nailed it, I think, because, my kids, they don't come to your dojo, but they do participate in karate. And I said that last night going, wow, they really miss it because my older one's having a hard time sleeping. And he doesn't have the same kind of activity, mental activity, physical activity to kind of help him wind down, like happen during the day to wind down. But I think this dance, yes, we can do these things, but no, we can't. We're not exactly sure what they all look like, what it's going to look like in the end and how to do it is a really good indicator to say, okay, but we can still, so we need to slow down because we don't have the whole picture yet. We can see some of it. We're working on a puzzle. So we can see some of the pictures starting to take shape, but we're really missing those key things. And I think that's a really good indicator for us that we need to still slow down and we can start to make some plans, but knowing that we have to be adaptable.
And we've got to change where your kids are doing karate. So
Wait to
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I'm just trying to help everybody's emotional well-being. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Karate, right? And just like therapy's therapy. You're going to go with what's there for you.
My take on it, whenever somebody tells me that their kids are going somewhere else, is we've all got our problems. But,
and we have to deal with them. They're doing the dance, is what they're doing.
But as long as your kids are happy and they found something that I'm passionate about, like it's changed my life. Then that's great. I'm like even I've got some parents that'll tell me that my kids playing lacrosse, and it's like if they're active and they're happy, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no lacrosse this year. But
yeah, of course, there's no lacrosse this year. So
time to get into karate.
Way to bring it down, Dan. Way to bring it down.
Yeah, I know. So if you weren't depressed when we started out, you're welcome. You're welcome. I got you down there. No, and I think the big thing though is you got to keep moving. We can't stop. And Zenia, you said it earlier that we've got to control what we can control, and part of that is our movement. If, we keep moving. Yeah. Then at least we are moving, which will help our emotional well-being as well. If someone is interested in getting a hold of you, you mentioned that you're still doing online. There is a potential that you could do some one-on-one stuff as far as counseling is concerned. How can they get a hold of you?
They can go to my website at alittlesen.ca. Incremental movement. So I'm opening up small numbers, small spaces, just a few session blocks a week for in office, but also getting back into the forest and doing the forest therapy aspect, the walk and talk, moving our bodies. And if it's not with me, doing it with yourself, doing it with the people in your household. But if there's any takeaway that I would love to offer for today is to be reminded of our gratitude practices. So being grateful for what we do have. We do have the nice weather right now. We do have the ability to be able to go into some stores and to do that and try to sit with that for a little bit and be grateful for the things that we do have instead of stressing over all the things that we don't have right now.
Great way to wrap this up. We want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And Scott, you too.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dan.
And good luck, Scott. Thanks.
To you as well.
I missed my line there. She said, thank you for being had. Want to make sure that we get that line out there. Guys, thanks a lot. And Wellness Wednesday back again next week. Have yourself a great week.
You too.
You too.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. That is Zenia Mihevc, and again, she is with A Little Zen, her practice here in Uxbridge. She's a social worker, and Scott Campsall from Okami joining us this morning as well.